see. Media volume. Oh, hey, everybody. Sorry. Yeah, we're live. I'm trying to figure out how to. I got a new phone, and I'm trying to figure out how to make the sound louder coming from from the phone call. I think I put it on some kind of um, I don't know, like where it's reducing the energy it's used, and I think that's made uh, the sound not come through well when it's on the speaker. So you can see it's not really coming through well. So I'm trying to figure out how to get this done, how to get out of the energy saver thing. So when we get a call, the call will come through loud and clear. Um, Maybe we can figure something else out if and when David or Clifford join us. So right now, I'll just read out the description and the title of tonight's show. And the title is important. Really, nothing else matters. So I do want to have a build up to this because, again, like I said, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter how few individuals or how many individuals are watching this. Nothing else matters but this. Government is abolished for destroying only purpose. That I would have made the title longer to make it more obvious exactly what I'm saying, but the title means the government's already abolished. You know, we got folks talking about lobbying, talking about voting, talking about this. It's already finished. They've already have their plans. They're underway. I know a lot of purpose for, these fake callers or even fake entire radio networks. And I'm going to tell you, every single internet radio host, all the YouTube guys, at this point, even most everybody on BitChute and 4chan, were always and are now manipulating folks because they're being handed a script and they don't ask enough questions, or that they know exactly what they're doing. They're government agents, they're college professors, they're radio DJs, whatever they are, they're in a position to carry out and put out government propaganda that's going to tell you to lobby something or vote for someone or anything like that. But what we're saying is that the government is already abolished, and it doesn't matter if nothing else matters. Not one thing else matters, but when the government ceases to carry out its only purpose, it abolishes itself. Even when uh hey Cliff, I've got something screwy with my phone. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out. Maybe even run the show through your phone, if we can. I don't know if we can do that. But the sound is not coming through. I've got the phone on some sort of level where it's just not coming through. Like this is one of the reasons I didn't want a new phone, because everyone says, oh, it's easy to figure out. As soon as you get the phone, like there's some sort of problem with it. I click something to try to keep the batteries operating at a good level, and now you can't hear somebody when they're on speakerphone, like for the show. So we got to figure something out about that, which I'm not really sure how to do that. David said he was not going to be able to be on tonight. Um, so um, I don't know what to say. Maybe if we could switch and have me call in and you run the show. I don't even know if that would work. Um, yeah, you would need codes. Yeah, this is this is a this is a problem. I didn't even realize this. Let's try the sound make to see if the sound is gonna come through. Is gonna come through, and anybody can hear it on the other line. Cliff, just say like a quick something because I don't even think it's gonna come through at all. Yeah, right. But we're talking about for Facebook. You're coming through loud and clear on Blog Talk. Um, but oh, let's try it. Let's try it then. Let's try it. Let's try it. Yeah. Right. Let's okay. All right. So, like I said, the only thing that really matters about anything is that the government's already abolished. It's silly to talk about impeachment, although we will. Definitely every president of my lifetime, at least, and seemingly well before that, going way back to Abraham Lincoln, would have and should have been impeached and removed from office and punished for their treason. I'm talking about at least starting with Abraham Lincoln, at least Abraham Lincoln and on. Every government official has waged war against the people, literally. And um, when when that happens, the government is already abolished because it has destroyed, and the people who have operated the leverage of this said government has destroyed its only purpose for being. So it doesn't really matter anymore at all. All right. So let me see if I can try to add Clifford. Invite friends. Invite. Oh my gosh. All right. You know, one thing that sucks about every freaking thing here on this Facebook apparatus is, all right, I'm inviting you, Cliff, and you're recently invited. That's what it's giving me an option to do. Let's see. Yeah, you're invited. I don't. Yeah, it looks like it's not giving me an option to add anybody either. Daggone it. Uh, is there an option to add me to the video? I just invited you. I just clicked invited. That's the only thing it's giving me an option to do right now. Just just to add you, whatever that means. This is not the normal thing here for this. I don't want to write a comment. No, where it normally gives the option to add, it's not giving that now. Um, Maybe I don't know. This seems strange because this is a problem we're having, and we have like better technology now. You sent me an invite, but not. Yeah, that's the only thing it's given me an option to do, Clifford. Uh, I mean, one thing maybe we could do is, um, I'm trying to think. Um, yeah, there's not much we can do right now. Cliff's calling back in, and I guess we can have just Cliff on radio, and then yeah. Right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I don't think it hasn't been. It's been right, right. You know, if somebody like has like this could be another thing. Like the thing with me is because the problem is I don't know. I believe the problem is I don't know how to restore the full uh what do you call it? Like you know the energy level, like where the volume. Yeah, but it's not the volume because it's on some sort of energy save mode. That's why the volume is lower. Oh, I got that, but right, right. I have no idea how to do that. You know, and the issue is that I'm on like I'm on the phone line running the blog talk show, which is really kind of screwing the pooch now. It's really pretty bad now. Um, but I've been looking for the battery thing. You know, um, let's see. I'm hitting on something that's like a battery thing, but it's not doing anything. It's just saying it's given like I hit it and my Gmail stuff comes down. It's crazy. Tap to schedule battery saver automatically. It turns on when battery is at 15%. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. Battery saver schedule settings. Got it. Oh, settings. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to do that, right? To extend your battery like it says turn off now. Okay. Turn off now. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, so I'll turn on now. Okay. Turn on automatically at 5%. That's the lowest I can get. So I want to make sure that the battery saver's off. I mean, battery saver is on. Okay, I don't want that. Turn off. Okay. So, all right. Turn off. I just turned off the battery saver and sound. Not right this second. All right, try again. It's not coming through. It's not coming through great. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to like hang up and try again. Do you think? I mean, do you think it would stop? Because like the thing I noticed, like, and I don't know anything about smartphones, and Cliff, I think that there's a delay between you and I. So like, you know, when you're talking, like I stop talking, but there might be a delay. So just keep that in mind. But what I'm saying is like I might. Right, right. Okay, okay. Well, so maybe I don't even know if I should try to hang up, and I guess I can try to hang up, and if you stay on the line on Blog Talk, I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna try to call back. Okay, on Blog Talk. I don't know, but I think it'll keep the call going. I think it'll keep the call going. That's what I'm concerned about. Is I don't want to hang up and then you hang up and then can't get back on to this show that we created because of some me being a luddite and the technology not working properly. And if this is the way it daggone works, like my other phone was better for that than this. Uh, so the tablet, and I'm using the phone. Well, I wouldn't be able to call into Blog Talk. I wouldn't be able to call into Blog Talk with otherwise, and unless there was another plan, and like that would have been you know that would have been great. Any sort of other plan, because like I might be like a dummy for not thinking of it, but yeah, it seems like yeah my best equipment works worst for a phone, which is what it is, and or my most modern equipment is a phone, and it works worse than my old phone, and I'm using the thing that does the most just for a plain old fashioned phone call. Um, all right, Cliff, I'm gonna hang up. Yeah, yeah, but everybody's already watching and listening. Like so, I'm gonna hang up and see if well, hey Cliff, we're just gonna try this one thing. Why we're just try this one thing, which is I'll call up, call back, and see if that turning the energy saver off is going to be back, getting the volume back, or whether the volume was working mysteriously good last week and now. So all right, so I'm going to hang up and call back. Doing that right now. All right, so I'm hanging up the Blog Talk. Continue the episode. Continue. I don't want to end it. I want everybody to be able to hear everybody who's calling into the show. So we're gonna try this again. Um, and it's unfortunate because all right. Oh man, I'm an idiot. Sorry. I just entered everything, including the daggone passcode. All right. Let's see if this comes through. All right. I don't think that's gonna work. Let's see. 96. All right, hey Cliff, I'm back. I don't think the volume's making any kind of difference here. Try, hey, say
Yeah,
something.
I mean,
No, no, no. It's better. It's better. Go ahead.
okay. I mean,
Yeah,
because I was
it's
literally
good.
looking at the live feed on Facebook, and there's like a big delay time. Like you had, like it was still with you talking before you said I'm gonna hang up. So
Okay,
I
fair,
mean that's
fair
whatever.
enough.
That's all we deflect.
But the point is that
Yeah,
worked.
let's.
Hanging up the phone and calling back, that worked. And turning off that energy saver thing, that worked. And F it, we'll just start off again. The show is starting off again. It doesn't matter about anything. Like, you gotta. And another thing here, one has to be kind of like dumber than me with my telephone to not realize that government is abolished for destroying its only purpose. So when the government starts waging war against the people, it's already finished. It's already abolished. There's no purpose of lobbying. There's no purpose for voting. There's no purpose for anything. They've declared war. They cannot hide their hand too much. That's why they've got these militarized UN vehicles riding around everywhere. Hey, I mean,
They wouldn't be able to operate otherwise without revealing themselves to a certain degree.
right.
And as we've said before, they get their magic power from that, or part of it, from feeding the cognitive dissonance.
Sure. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
not only do they have to reveal some of their hand, they reveal it in the most efficient and beneficial way to them. Or I should say most beneficial, maybe not always the most efficient.
Right. The most beneficial to them, and they can't screw it up. Just like, you know, obviously, like, you can't screw up, sleeping. You can't screw up. I mean, you can have problems sleeping, but it's gonna happen. There's gonna be sleep. You're gonna eat. You're gonna drink fluids. You're gonna consume water. They're gonna do all this stuff. They've laid it out. There's plans. I mean, there's plans within plans within plans. That's all they do all day long is plan to destroy all of your freedom and take everything from you that they can, that they wish. Not, if they wish you dead, you'll be dead. If they wish you to be a slave in whatever kind of way, that's what you'll do. So government is abolished for destroying only purpose. So when they start telling you you can't have a gun, or you can't form a militia, you can't enforce the law even though you are the creator of the law. So the people ordain the government. We are the people because we are the posterity of the creators of the government. Therefore, we create it, and we have identified in that our servants. And it is identified that it is a bad idea to give the power of authority over religion, speech, and weapons of war to one's servants. And so it's explicitly written into the law, hey, there's certain laws, they're God's laws, and it doesn't matter, what kind of government is created, what they say, no matter what they say, there are certain things that God has given to man that a government can never take away. And when that happens, not only should the people abolish the government abolishes itself. It's already finished. It's already done. Whether the people are brave enough to abolish it.
The government is abolished, and the people must expose the unlawful entity that is masquerading around as their government.
Right, that's true. That is true, and that's part of the plan as put forward in every document that's ever been written by any legitimate government. And our government, the basis of our government, for, well, thousands of years, we can go back and see how our common law has been formed. And so then all other questions about politics are thrown out the window. I mean, it's good conjecture. Everybody likes to be convinced over and over again about the same thing. Every time there's a fake shooting, folks want to hear about the fake shooting. I'm interested in it, pointing out how one has to be a complete brain-dead moron to buy any of this stuff. Oh yeah, folks are still putting out 9/11 stuff, but I can tell you now at this point, it goes without saying. All this stuff goes without saying. Okay, any government that violates its only purpose is already abolished. So, when the government violates its only purpose, there is no purpose for it, except for a negative, deadly purpose that we've seen them plan. We've called it out every step of the way, and now you see it playing out. When we saw these weaponized UN vehicles and riding down Interstate 81 in the Appalachian Mountains, in the Blue Ridge Mountains of northwestern and Western Virginia. What did you think? What did you think? We told you all this stuff was coming. When they go like, oh, what's gonna happen when they've already come for my gun. I still have the one they came for. They've done it multiple times. So when I hear all these jokers, and I know that they're mostly cops or cop supporters who contact me from something called the Virginia Citizens Defense League, which is most well known for being duped by the actor Sacha Baron Cohen, where he was playing a Mossad agent. That's how most folks know the VCDL. When these guys call me Jake, using fake names, or when they're using their real name and they start trying to ask me a bunch of questions, I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell you anything. Except for, I'm going to tell you what kind of crooked organization you're a part of, Adam Yonk from Pocosin. So again, like, I mean, and that guy just hung up. I was like, well, here's how things really work, and like, what you're doing is not good, and I'm not going to tell you anything. But what these guys don't realize is that the government is already abolished. It's already done. When they tell you the basis of all the tyranny that's rained down upon you and me is a result of voting, and you know, and it is written into the law explicitly, no matter what, you can't take these rights away. The Constitution, it doesn't talk about voting. In the Declaration of Rights, that's the basis of everything. It doesn't talk about voting. It says, hey, the people shall have the right to bear arms, and it's the only thing necessary to a free state, unless the government convinces enough individuals that the people shouldn't have the right to bear arms. Or you have a right to say anything you want, unless a bunch of people say you don't have that right and that you'll get killed for what you think and what you believe. That's not in. That's
the issue. The masses choose to live in fear fear. They used to live in fear of the unlawful statutes as opposed to stand in faith and courage in the true law. But most of them are ignorant of the true law anyway, even though it's written on their heart.
But again, as we say, the good thing about that is the masses are inconsequential. They don't matter at all. Because they have been bred to be slaves. And that is a problem. And I don't think that maybe when this tyranny ends, that there will be a mass awakening, but really there's no purpose for almost everyone. You know, I don't find it difficult anymore to find purpose, because this is my only purpose. I can't make people do things, but there's enough information out there. When I look back at how many years I've been doing this, how consistent and simple and easily attained the information that I convey is, I say, hey, I've done it. It's done. It's already, everything's already in motion. If my only purpose is to say, hey, I see what's going on, and I don't want to have anything to do with that anymore. Or I wish to have as little to do with society, the government, the de facto government, not the de jure government, the de facto government, again, as I'll say and repeat many times, the de facto government, not the de jure government. I'm done. I don't want, I know all these guys, they are disgusting demons. They don't do anything but destroy the planet and enslave its inhabitants. So it's done. It's finished. And that's not their mandate. Their mandate isn't to destroy everything that they have gained leverage over. So I really want, I spent a good bit of time, or at least a good bit of brain power, on tonight's title and tonight's description. So, hey, Cliff, are we able to share this show? I don't know.
So, Chris, so I can try to share it, but if I'm sharing it, I'm going to be muted because there will be double feedback, and I'm on the bus right now. So so give me about like 5 to 10 minutes. Don't ask any questions.
Okay, I'll go. This will be at least 5 or 10, and maybe more. But whenever you're ready, get back into this, because this is everything. Government is abolished for destroying only purpose. Any government that violates its only purpose is already abolished. The operative question is whether the body of the people of God or the synagogue of Satan shall exert original authority. God made human beings warlike and gave man dominion over all living things. The time has come to restore God's natural law, just as our forefathers have done before. So it's already been done. We already have the map, the game plan. There are individuals that have this information passed through them from God. Everything comes from God. From the God gland, from the hypothalamus, operates our ultimate supercomputer, where I'm just holding a bunch of devices in my hand, on my lap, in order to convey all the information that is in my supercomputer. Everyone has one. That is better than any and all supercomputers of the world combined. The The Khazarian mob has served as the puppet master of all organized crime rackets based in usury, which pose as corporations and international, national, and local governments. The de facto government has no legitimate power because through its warfare against its creator, it has destroyed its only purpose for being. And everyone that serves that system is guilty of treason. Despite this fact, only the leaders of the treasonous plot shall be punished to the fullest extent of the law. All other corporate/government employees must assist in restoring original authority, cleaning up all of the mess. There's plenty to clean up. There is much work to do to restore God's natural law. We, the people, are sovereign, and we are separate from the citizen slave. Everything is because of God, including our divine right to rule. So, how do I know all this stuff? God. Who created me? My mother and my father. Who created them? The same. Who created all them back, whatever, 10, 15,000 years ago? God created all living things. So I am sovereign over everything but God. And God gives me and all other sovereigns the divine right to rule. The divine right to be able to self-govern. And, in addition, govern others and every human being. Not just every man, every human being. And I'm using their terminology. A human being is a monster, one who has no rights, one that was born a man, but at some level has become something of a lower being.
Lesser.
A what?
Something lesser.
Exactly, something lesser. So, I'm using their terminology. So, I reserve all my God-given rights, and that goes without saying. I think it is very telling, extremely important, that there is nothing more important to note that all of the attacks of the rights of the people that are being carried out by the de facto quote-unquote government is so explicitly written into the law that it cannot be refuted in any sort of way. And that when we see these UN vehicles... Yeah, go ahead, Clifford.
I mean, it doesn't matter that it can't be refuted, because if you're trying to reach humans or human-like beings through logic, it's not going to work unless their minds are open. If their minds aren't open, they'll only react properly to emotion. So that might be the big issue. You're trying to reach everyone with logic too much. Not to say you're doing that too, but that's where the frustration comes in. You keep trying to use logic, and it's like it's very obvious, but that's not what they want to listen to because it doesn't make them feel good.
Well, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, we are shooting for a pun intended, for a specific audience. We don't care about anyone who disagrees with anything that we're saying. We don't care if you're not caught up. We don't care if you are upset by the facts that we lay out. We don't. I'll speak for myself. The eternal we, the we as a sovereign, and speaking for my realm. and a lot of folks are subject, and they have absolutely no idea. But what I'm saying is, it does not matter. Hey, Cliff, one place I really want to share this is on the Constitutional Virginia Militia page. That would be best, above anything else, because I see who's watching and who's listening. I probably am not seeing everyone, because the sketchiest folks on Facebook really know how to limit how folks are viewing what they're doing. Otherwise, yeah, I see y'all.
Their anonymity.
Right. Absolutely. So the key being how much all of this is written into the law. And I'll tell you, folks are really emotional about their right to self-defense here in Virginia and elsewhere. And here in Virginia, we just wish to make sure, this is the purpose of tonight's show, everybody will get the message. The message is out there. We're seeing the enemy, leading the Trojan horse for this Second Amendment sanctuary. So we're going to start talking about this Second Amendment sanctuary, quote unquote, movement in Virginia, them talking about calling out the National Guard. And all I can say is, on this show and in all my social media videos, I've made a lot of references to Lieutenant Yabut, Y-A-B-U-T. Let's see, what's that guy's name? I'll find out real quick. But anyway, the last big story about the Virginia National Guard, before talking about them calling out the Virginia National Guard to subdue allegedly Joshua Philip Yabut, who was a lieutenant in the Virginia National Guard, and in 2018 he stole a militarized MRAP vehicle and took it on a quote-unquote joyride, 65 miles, and the joyride ended right at the state capitol. So you're seeing the symbolic, how they're doing their black magic ritual with the National Guard and an MRAP vehicle at the state capitol. And on January 20th, there's going to be probably one of the largest armed marches on, and I don't even want to say armed march. It's not an armed march. It's a demonstration. It's a symbolic and God-given message. It is drawing a line in the sand right now, and the line was drawn by our enemy, because they are telling you, okay, yeah, it's these militarized vehicles, but and it'll start with the National Guard, but it won't end there. And they're gonna, who knows whose side is gonna win, because it's not gonna be an actual real battle. It's gonna be a lot like that Bundy Ranch, but more sophisticated. The Bundy standoffs. It's gonna be more sophisticated. And so what's gonna happen is, hey, the militia side, they might make them the winners, because that's what everybody's gonna hope to see. That's because it's American and it's standing for gun, God, and guts, or whatever, which is true in a certain way.
That's a great segue into the impeachment theatrical.
But let me keep going with this. Let me keep going with this, and then we'll get into the impeachment, because the impeachment's going to fit in with this. It's going to dovetail right in. So that's why I preface this with, hey, it doesn't matter. You got to follow this, and if you don't know how to follow it, I don't care, man. I'm not interested in entertaining anyone. So here's what is happening what has happened and what's going to happen. So what they're doing is they're putting out the idea that one must be deputized, or these quote-unquote sheriffs who have been committing treason for so long need to be protected from who? From what? Possibly the National Guard. But I'll tell you, that may lead into something where, hey, in order to carry a gun, you must be part of the militia, which is what? The cops. And they will cut it out. But we know that the militia is the entire body of the people, with the exception of government officials. How do we know that? Because the guy who wrote the law is named George Mason, and that's his direct quote. It's in the Militia Handbook. It's lots of other places as well. So I'm just telling you, that's the way it's going to go. That's like telling you, hey, yeah, you can drive a car because a lot of people are after your license, but basically, you have to be a sheriff's deputy to have a driver's license, and they'll deputize everyone that they want to. And it could be thousands of people. It could be 95% of the population, and 5% says, hey, I don't want to be deputized. Okay, fine, no license. Hey, I don't want to be vaccinated. Fine. No vaccination, no license. For now. And then the next step will be, well, yeah, you can't drive around, you can't have a life, you can't do anything, and you're going to be vaccinated anyways. So that's how all this stuff is shaken down. That Clifford made a great point. We're going to segue into this impeachment stuff, because the impeachment thing and the Virginia gun grab thing is working hand in hand. I've been contacted for years by imposters calling themselves the Virginia militia, propagating that Trump is gonna pull the curtains up on Pizzagate, and they're gonna impeach him for it, and we need to mobilize the militia to save Trump in office. And so on the Constitutional Virginia Militia page, when they pull that Trump BS on my page, I just go like, hey, no, we're not going to fall for this. We're not a bunch of morons here. So they're gonna start acting like this is a Republican versus Democrat thing, when it's all of them together. They're all playing out off the same script, and it's just like watching a movie and being angry at the actor who plays the bad guy. That's what it's like to be angry at Republicans or Democrats. That's what it's like to be angry at them. Now, being angry is just a wasted emotion if that's all you're going to be, is to just, I guess, exert your anger everywhere. We definitely have the right to be angry. I'm not happy with how the government is functioning, and I am aware of their worst crimes, and also I've already done it. The government's abolished. I don't know how many times I have to say it. The government is abolished. It's abolished. It's abolished. I've given my reason. And it's not just my reason, it's written into the law. When a government ceases to act in the interest of the body of the people, then it ceases to be. It's done. It's finished. When it takes away that which in the document that created this entity in the first place, the Constitution says, hey, you can't do this. And no matter what happens, you can never do it. When that happens, when the government itself, it ceases to be. It's...
And another, maybe a simple metaphor. When your butler tries to kill you, he's not your butler anymore. He is your assassin.
Right. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, again, yes, when you hire someone to clean your floor and they spread garbage all over your floor, you don't have to petition your servant to please clean it up, because you say please clean it up, and they go, okay, yeah, let me get my material, I'll clean it up, and then they throw human waste all over the floor, and then you go, oh please, I'm petitioning you, I'm lobbying you, please clean my floor, I hired you to clean my floor, and you spread trash and then human waste on the floor. Please, I'm petitioning and lobbying you. I've got to lobby and petition. And that's not even a good analogy, because the good analogy is like if the butler was you are a god to the servants of the government. You are the creator. God is to man as man is to government. God, we serve God as man, as male and female. We serve God. You don't think so? Walk outside. Walk outside and see if you make God serve you. You know, if you're on the East Coast especially. It was worse last night. But yeah, just try to go outside and say like, oh no, I don't serve God. I'm not subject to God. Yeah, walk outside and try to survive. It's cold. Got down to 19 degrees here last night. It's cold, and it's much colder other places. So try it. Try to say that God is not your creator and you're not subject to God. So we create the government, and the government is subject to us. It's not because I said that. That's because that's the way it is created. No one would dispute that in any sort of way if they actually knew anything about the creation of this and any other legitimate government. You can't question it, because it's written in there so clearly. So clearly. Can't be read any other way.
Chris, so now this is where I would become a bit of a psychologist. Why, if you don't care, people not getting it, why are we belaboring the point? Or do you feel you're belaboring the point? Because that's how I feel currently.
I'm belaboring what point?
That the government is God is the man is the government.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely. I would say one of my main motivators at this point, and I attempt to make myself clear that's what this show is. Being clear, unambiguous, and if I'm belaboring something, then so be it, because I would like to stick to the operative information, and the point that I may be belaboring it, and I would say belaboring, break that down. I'm not really, I guess I am laboring to have this assertion and claim be very precise and specific and impossible to misconstrue. And that is, I reject the society. The government is already abolished. We called out the militia. The militia is activated. When it becomes activated by a government that has not rejected the government as a whole, then it has absolutely no legitimate authority, and it is a part of a system that is going to be a Trojan horse to enter into Agenda 21 as we have not seen before. That is my point. I am laying all of those claims, assertions, facts out, and yeah, I mean, all of them deserve time. I believe I'm spending the most time on what I believe is the most important thing, but hey, I'm willing to admit I'm wrong. Here, Section 1, Virginia Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, Virginia Constitution, that all men by nature are equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity, namely enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. So this possessing properties, anything that you labor for, like this property is being stolen from me and Clifford and everybody else by Facebook. That's our property, but we're not possessing it. We are working and putting our information out on, and don't tell me about BitChute or any other new government military setup. It's all the same. Even if you have your own website, they're operating them all out of Israel. Or is quote unquote Israeli occupied areas. That includes the United States. Well, that includes everywhere. All Section 2, in case that wasn't clear enough, that all power is vested and consequently derived from the people, that magistrates are their trustees and servants, and at all times amenable to them. I mean, is it amenable what the government does to us? I mean, who disagrees or agrees? Okay, so hey, we'll move on. Cliff, what would you like to talk about?
I mean, there's many things I would like to talk about. I mean,
well, go ahead. Go ahead. You have the floor.
I mean, I like the thing you brought up. And sorry, I'm outside, but I'm about to head in a second. I like the fact that you brought up the fact that they set up these theatrical plays like the Militia PSYOP that's coming up in January 20th, 2020. Interesting numbers. But they'll set up whichever side wins if they think it has the best psychological effect. Like the impeachment. It's making all the people on the so-called left happy, but they could just be being set up to be disappointed when he's not convicted. Or any other way around. So
it could come out anyway. Right.
So essentially, because people are far more interested in being entertained than, learning.
Absolutely.
Or living meaningful lives. And when we talk about going from the Virginia Declaration of Rights and then going into the Declaration of Independence, where it's been sort of changed to the pursuit of happiness. So it's this idea, well, if I'm happy in hell, then it's all right. And it's like, well, you can choose to live that way, but no one else has to choose to live that way.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, happy is an emotion. Happiness isn't a state of being. I mean, if everyone's walking around, this is crazy. When folks start accusing others of any sort of thing that's going on with them emotionally, they go, you just don't seem happy. I'm happy when there's reason to be happy. I love to be happy. It's my favorite way to be, is to be happy. But I mean, it's not.
Chris is actually probably very good.
Well, hey, let me finish here. Let me finish, Cliff. Let me finish, Cliff.
Yeah.
But if somebody walks around happy all the time, man, there's something wrong with them at a level that is very disturbing. And I will tell you, nobody's happy all the time. And if folks, I should say, pretend to be happy more than more than they actually are, that's a big problem too. So happiness is an emotion. The pursuit of happiness, hey, yeah, you want to pursue it. It doesn't say like you're guaranteed it. You're guaranteed the right to, property. You're guaranteed certain inalienable rights that are explicit. You got the right to self-defense. You have the right to group preservation, and you have the right to rebellion against anything that keeps you from group self-preservation and the right of self-defense. I mean, how do you think that we have all these guns in America? It's not easy. They're expensive as crap. And I have a lot of disdain for most gun owners because they have too many. They're greedy with everything. But, hey, whatever. This stuff is going to whittle its way down. I can tell you very, very quickly that the structure that you think that is going on and is going to be on top today, it's going to be on the bottom tomorrow. I can tell you that right now. So I would like to bring up a little bit of something that we covered on this last PSYOP network that we went on. A lot of folks watched it, watched the broadcast here. But Cliff asked a really interesting question, and they're subverting this now in the media with calling places like wine caves when they're actually wine bunkers. You guys don't realize these multimillionaires and these government officials, there's millions of them. There's probably 3 or 4 million. If you think when it all breaks down, they've got their plan. They definitely have their plan. They say there's 340 million people in the United States now. They got their plan. They got their plan to keep about, 3 to 5 million people alive in the United States while hell on earth takes place above ground. And they're rubbing your face now in it too by putting Pete Buttigieg. Hey, Cliff, that's ridiculous. They're mocking us with this Buttigieg guy.
There's been about 3 different interpretations: Bud guy, booty check, Buttigieg. I've never heard anyone actually say his name on television because I don't really watch TV anymore, but yeah. Bud guy, booty check, Buttigieg. Whichever way you want to take it, you're being mocked.
Right, and he had a great comeback to his fancy wine bunker, doomsday wine bunker, big fundraiser. And he says, well, hey, I'm the only one up here that's not a millionaire or a billionaire. I'm the only one on the running for president that is a Democrat that's not a millionaire or billionaire. These guys are bemoaning the system that made them a millionaire or a billionaire. What do you think? That they're going to, cut themselves off? Hey, yeah, I know things were nice for us and we're millionaires and billionaires, but yeah, we're really gonna turn it around this time. This time we're actually going to give up the money we stole from you and stop extorting you, stop killing you, and so forth and so on. So yeah, just no worries. We're having events down in these wine bunkers. Oh yeah, it seems like we're threatening World War III, and that the continental United States is gonna turn into a hellscape. Hey, don't worry about it. Check out this wine bunker we have. Hey, it's fancier than anything you've got above ground by about 1,000,000%. So, there's so many stupid things that folks say. There's so many dumb freaking things that are out there that folks are manipulated and fooled by just because somebody says one thing that they agree with and does it in a flashy manner. That's it. And when they're mocking you, you don't even see it. It's a wine cave. No, it's a wine bunker. You think these guys are gonna go down with industrial sized boxed wine into the apocalypse? They've got a wine bunker, and they're not just gonna use it during the apocalypse. That's where they hide everything. Maybe they switch, some freaking, really expensive Chateau Rothschild with something that they created, from 60 years ago that they created, yesterday. Who knows? Like they're whatever they're doing, everything that they're doing is criminal. And the last step of it is like, hey, we're gonna pull the rug out from under everyone, and then we're gonna go down to our bunkers, and hey, make our escape from there. We got electricity, we got generators downtown, down there. They have nothing because of the EMPs that we unleashed from underground. I mean, what else is there? You see, Cliff, I don't know. I don't know what's really going on, because I don't know what else interesting there is to talk about, because that's it. They got underground bases. They got bunkers. They got things fancier than you've ever been in underground for themselves, with better wine than you've ever had, better food than you've ever had in your life or will ever have access to. And what? We got to convince folks, like, do something? This is just me saying, like, hey, I'm spent as far as that goes.
So, Chris, then let's just do a little thought experiment. So you tell people this, then what do you think I shouldn't say natural, what do you think the de facto response from the average person is? Or as we said, the average person doesn't really matter, but most people, then we'll say, what do you think most people, because we're not average and we're not most, but what do you think most people, even those who are privy to this information, what do you think most people's response is? When you tell them, hey, they got
oh man, what I would say is, Clifford, let me speak. So my response to that is, I already know that they will cut off all communication. They won't have a response. They can't have a response. They will cut off all communication.
Well, what I was thinking was the response I've heard the most is, I can't do anything about that, which I think is a lie. What are your thoughts?
It certainly is a lie. That is a response. That is a response, but I would say it's very rare that I would even get that response. Normally, it would be, cut off all communication. This is not something that anyone but a very few small percentage of the population will even consider or discuss. It might be different in San Francisco. It might be different in certain.
Yeah, well, I'll say those are the last two responses, or that's been the response I've gotten from the last two people who have either been privy to this information or I made them more privy to this information. They said, and it depresses them because I can't do anything about it. And this line from a song called The Search I really like. The point I'm making is the mind is a powerful place, and what you feed it can affect you in a powerful way. So why not just erase that T apostrophe and say, I can do anything about this? And now maybe thing A versus thing B might not be that useful or effective, but you can do anything.
Right.
You can choose to take your own life because it's so depressing. Or you can choose to say until the day you die, this government is criminal and I wish to have nothing to do with it.
Right. Oh, Cliff, I've got to tell you, I've been through all of this. I've been through all of this, and it is a traumatic. Uh, I mean, traumatic. It's a dramatic and emotional experience. I have said those exact words to because one of the responses I've gotten is, what do you want me to do about it? And then my patented stock response, maybe not personally patented, I'm sure many others have used these exact words, something rather than nothing. That was always my response. What can we do? Something rather than nothing. And when it comes down to our audience, like, and maybe I think my audience, at least on a personal level, is different from your audience, Cliff. I don't really spend much time around, any human beings. I went to the store, to the corner store today, and exchanged about 5 or 6 pleasant words with several people. I don't communicate that much. We wouldn't get into a conversation about this, on a daily basis. But when I used to do that, that is the response. There's nothing we can do about it. That's always been the way. Make the best of everything, and these are the individuals that will fight you every step of the way leading to that point. And then the last step is cutting off communication. So yeah, it's all very disturbing. I don't know how else to put it. It is extremely disturbing to tell everybody exactly what's going on. I mean, with this nonsense, it's every day. This is Fox News: whooping cough outbreak closes Texas school despite 100% vaccination rate. Okay, let's just go. Bite your tongue. Vladimir Putin snaps at reporters questions about upcoming nuclear war. I mean, okay, keep going, and I will tell you that the space weapons program, the space war program, has always been a joint effort of not only NASA and the cosmonaut program, but all other nations of the world. I like this post. When you realize that Satan has an army. Let's see. I'll show you this, because these are awards from the United States military. Here, I'll get to you in a second. There. That's the Baphomet, and I'll tell you, I'm not superstitiously afraid of a downward pointing pentagram. However, I will say that is a symbol that is manifesting lower base earthly ungodly emotions. See, everything is based on symbols. And symbols have numinosity. They have power over people just by gazing upon certain symbols. So a downward pointing pentagram, it communicates directly and triggers the base level of human beings. Now, lots of symbols do this. Wawa announces massive data breach, potentially all locations affected. I mean, Wawa, I guess it's not as big as like 7-Eleven, but I mean, everybody around here shops at a Wawa, so it's pretty much East Coast, the most populated area of the United States. Here's something. When governments take away citizens' right to bear arms, it becomes citizens' duty to take away government's right to govern. I agree with the sentiment. everyone freaked out about it being George Washington. It, being a Freemason, we've gone through what Freemasonry is. Talking about the Whiskey Rebellion, good points. But again, I mean, if everybody wants to focus on the wrong thing, they can go ahead and do it. And I say, is it rational to lobby one's servants to restore one's God-given rights? Is that a rational thing to do? Is it rational to lobby a servant of yours to give you something that they stole, that they had absolutely no right ever to take from you? More than just like a iPad or a TV or a car, something much more important. When the basis of our biblically derived common law constitution is gone, the government is abolished because its only purpose ceases to be. Let me read that again. When the basis of our biblically derived common law constitution is gone, the government is abolished because its only purpose ceases to be. All right. When I put stuff like that out there, when I say it, it has a cathartic feeling to me because it's just so self-evident. And if I have to convince folks of this, it makes me feel like, even though in the far recesses of my mind I'm a rational human being, it makes me feel like I'm the smartest man on the freaking planet, because everybody else must have to be some kind of dumb that doesn't get this.
Well, if you want to continue, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna get to more data breaches. 267 million on Facebook. That's new. That's on top of the billions of others. Basically, everybody's data is gone from Facebook. We need to know that, but go ahead.
I would like to try to take it to a more deeper spiritual level than just reiterating how satanic society is.
Sure.
And I want to specifically talk about something David was mentioning to me, and since it's the Christmas time, we can bring up two famous Christmas stories, like A Christmas Carol and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And he told me he was speaking to you about this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right.
That is.
Yeah, that's right.
About, like, an epiphany he had about the two characters, and I implored David, like, David, you got to think a little more deeply though, because essentially saying that, like, well, like, how did the Grinch and how did Scrooge like get like this, like, so they're, and he was saying it's like, yeah, they're not just grumpy, like, they're not just, but they're like, man, everyone's so stupid, and I say, well, David, someone might respond, well, oh, they're like just because they hate the joy people have of Christmas, and it's like, as you said, I'm happy when there's something to be happy about. And then if you look at their relative positions, the Grinch literally above everyone else, seeing their entire lives blow out day by day, seeing the futility of their existence. And who's Scrooge? He's a millionaire. He's a miser. So he knows how corrupt it is, and he's chosen the path, well, if this is how fucked up the world is, then I will only think for myself. And I didn't tell David to think about this part, and I was delirious in that. But how does that story unfold? What do the Scrooge and Grinch do? And this is what people tell me, and I understand the sentiment, but I think I'm the last person you need to tell this. Oh, Cliff, you can't just be so, you got to show love, show love. And I show love despite how frustrating this is. And the thing is, what I find frustrating is people reacting so poorly to my venting. Like, when I vent, they think they have to make me so-called feel better. It's like, nah, you just need to listen, and then preferably go out and do something useful. But let me know your thoughts on that, or if you think...
Yeah, I think
that isn't the way to go, and that is the deception.
Yeah.
With the moral of the story of how the Grinch stole Christmas and Christmas Carol.
I mean, all I can say is, I mean, do people... as far as A Christmas Carol, I want to know how many folks have actually read the full book by Charles Dickens, have the context for which it was written, get it. I mean, it is very powerful. It is a powerful story. How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Yeah, the Grinch and and Ebenezer Scrooge, they turned it around. They certainly did. Um, but I, I, I got a lot of things to say about all the things that you just covered there.
Unpack it. Unpack it.
Well, we're going to.
Unpack
We're
it.
going to, obviously. So, I would say the most important element of that is that these are propaganda tools. I mean, I don't know that Charles Dickens was that, was that great. He lived a pretty, cushy life, writing about the downtrodden. Now, there's lots of folks today that do that. I can tell you that right now. So I am cynical, and I am happiest when I'm cynical, because when something is genuine, it is very rare, and it is pretty much verified in my mind, because I am such a legitimate and rational cynic. So I would say that about these characters to begin with. They are a creation. If they are universal, they are basically a creation of what? What are they forwarding at this point? I mean, what message does that really have for us? It does have an important message, but are we getting the right message from it? To me, I really think that yeah, it's 100% right. Folks don't really break it down. This Grinch is like, he's watching everybody. He should be lucky, but he's watching everybody, and these guys, he thinks that they're all so dumb. But you know what? That's nothing like actual society. So that's what I have to say about that. Scrooge is the prototype. Yeah, it's like a caricature. So it's a caricature. So it's not. It's going to play completely on your emotions. So here, let me tell you something, because this is something that got me today. I started being mesmerized by the idiot box, and I caught myself, just like I've caught myself many times, getting mesmerized by the MK Ultra, messaging on blotter paper, original blotter paper from the Human Beings and all the other CIA run LSD experiment. Like, so I know what it's like, and so I start, and the thing I got was they changed the Shriners Hospital commercials all around. So it's like a TV show you're watching. It's like a minute long, and the Shriners Hospitals or the ASPCA, man, I can watch those now, but I used to not be able to watch those things. I couldn't do it. I watched 5 seconds of it, and I would be so upset and emotional. I'd wish to save every animal, save every disabled child with a life-threatening disease. Absolutely, without a question. That was my goal. I prayed to God for it. I still do. It still has an effect on me. But now what I realize is that the worst individuals are the ones that are pocketing money, pretending that it's going to go to this charity. And I can tell you, the same thing goes with the Grinch, Charles Dickens, all that stuff. I don't buy any of it. I don't. It's caricatures. It's not real. Don't feel. That's what I say about so many things, because I know how to make things better. I'm well enough in my concept of what they're asking for and what they need to do that. So they're, what are they asking for? Are they saying like, hey, everybody, you know, take 5 dogs into your home. Come down and as a community, we've got to get rid of this problem. We've got to take away the dogs and cats from those people that are not able to take care of them, or are tying them up, or leaving them, or for whatever reason. We've got to make sure that this wheelchair bound little girl has a prosthetic leg, and that is the purpose. Whatever we have to do to get that done, to make sure every little girl who needs a prosthetic leg and boy who needs a prosthetic leg and man or woman, that they have one. They don't say that. They don't go like, we've got to. It's our responsibility as a community. What do? Give us money. Give us money. And then you know, you just go, okay, I'm going to give you money. I only got $50, but I'm going to give you 35. I won't be able to eat a couple days, but here, take this money. Then you realize, oh, hey, the money doesn't even go to that. The money goes to administrative costs, and only 10% of this money actually goes to anything. And then the people who run the legitimate part, they take another 5% off, and they do a horrible job. And they spend all their money generating money. So they ask you for money. And that's not what's needed. What's needed is to solve the problem. And they want to say everything is money based. So therefore, hey, those with the most money, they're going to have the most access to fix everything that's wrong. And there's so much wrong. How are they doing? How are these folks doing? The ones that tell you that, hey, everything's based on money. Oh, we got all the money? Okay, well, we're the only ones that can fix it then. We're fixing it. How are you fixing it? Well, we're running these commercials, and you see it generates a lot of money. Does it fix any problems? No, but it generates a lot of money. People really are emotional about it. They really want to help these animals.
Maybe we want to hop ahead and get in front of the communist psyop, because this is where the communists would love to come in and say, yeah, people's housing should be based on whether someone could turn a profit, and it's like, yeah, but you all aren't gonna. That's not what you guys are about, because this is where people will accuse you of being a communist, where it's like you're saying that, yeah, you need to fix the problem, not make money. So I was thinking maybe we want to just get in front of that before.
I mean, people accuse me of being a Nazi as I'm denouncing Nazism, or a national. They accuse me of being a National Socialist or a fascist as right at the second that I'm denouncing it. So yeah, everybody's a dumb idiot. Yeah, communist? Absolutely not. I used to think I was a communist, but yeah, I'm certainly the opposite of a communist. I am a communalist, but I'm certainly not a Marxist. I believe that people need each other because everything is based on sexual reproduction, and everything else stems out of that one thing. So people at least need each other for that, at the very least, to reproduce. And the problem is, the wrong people are reproducing. That's generally the main problem. And also, yeah, it's, you know, I wish to be around my family. I'm not around my family very much at all. I haven't seen any of my family members since September, and I generally see them once or twice a year, and it's certainly not all of them, because I have no communication with my brother, and I have extremely limited communication with my own sister. And this is because, not because they're not involved in politics, they're just involved in another part of politics. My sister and mother support someone that I would not hesitate to put in front of a firing squad for treason, and that's Bernie Sanders, a disgusting prototype satanic Khazarian. That's the best way I can I can describe him. I can describe him in every other way as well. And I believe that we are going to have to just reinstate and only refer to these Khazarians. There's another K word, Khazarian, whatever. Because, like, you know, whatever that seems to upset them the most, it seems to stir folks up. They must be expelled. We cannot have, I don't know, somebody with more than probably, I don't know, 25, 30% Khazarian, Ashkenazi blood in our country. They got to get out. And the ones that are guilty of treason, they've got to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. So there you go. I mean, I don't know what to say besides that, but this government has destroyed our group. I mean, my brother and my sister, they will have to repent, and for what they've done, the average person, I wouldn't have any problem executing them for their treason. But I would never do that to my own family member, and that's what I care about more than anything else. And I care more than anyone else I know about complete strangers and my own enemies. I do love my enemies. I'm a Christian. I love my enemies. I love them because God created them, and I love God, so I have to love my enemies. I have to. I got no choice. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't. If it wasn't something that is innate in me, you know, I wouldn't do it. And I would love to save all of their lives, but that's not possible. That's not possible. I would love to save all their lives from war. And when I say war, this cancer epidemic that's over war, all these diseases, all these children that need prosthetic legs and have childhood cancer and have diabetes and have all these different diseases. That's not just what happened because, you know, God chose it that way. Man chose that. Humans chose that. By disease in the entire planet. Humans chose it. Humans did it. Not God. God didn't decide to do that. That's preventable by man. Man can prevent that. Man can stop making everything out of plastic. Man can stop, you know, mandating, you know, deadly neurotoxins and poisons be pumped into every child and every adult all around the world. Man can choose that. Man can choose not to let the most psychopathic among us, you know, have free reign with all of the most deadly weapons of war. Man chose that. We don't have to have every deadly, you know, genocidal disease being created and then disseminated out to the public from military bases. But that's what's happening. That's what's going on. So, I mean, we haven't even. I mean, I'm staring at a picture of Jeffrey Epstein with the headline: "Camera footage of Epstein's first suicide attempt has disappeared and nobody knows why." Okay, like everything went wrong with that one. It is. So I hadn't even mentioned the fact that all the individuals that are running your governments all around the country, they are, I'm going to say it, they're all child rapists. And if they're not, there's maybe a couple that aren't, they're all hiding it from everything else, from everyone. I mean, have you heard any of the Democrats talk about Jeffrey Epstein during the debates? I want to know. Has anybody seen it? I saw my mom watching this show earlier. She watches all the debates. She watches the pregame show. She watches the post game show. She cheers for her. You know, it is a sports entertainment activity for those interested in like politics. So I haven't seen or heard anyone mention Jeffrey Epstein's name. And if they all say every bad thing in the world about Trump, they never mention him. They never mention this guy. Yeah, Muhammad says no. That's my guess.
I mean, and there's even, of course, there's always the Okie to reinforce the faux political tribalism. Was Tom the one billionaire?
Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer.
Yeah, I think it's Tom.
Yeah, Tom Steyer.
So yeah, Tom Steyer says, like, you know who loves us arguing like this? Trump. And so they have to then they basically go, we're all actually against Trump, except none of us will go for the throat and just say, hey, it's kind of obvious that Trump's a 9/11 co-conspirator. And if you don't think that's obvious, it's even more obvious he facilitates child trafficking. Yeah, let's go execute this dude for treason.
I mean, yeah, I'm hoping, like, I'm hoping that's, I mean, is that where this stuff is going? Because, like, what Donald Trump keeps doing, like, I think it's a confusion thing, and that's why I'm wondering, you know, the militia, like, I've got to moderate the comments because they're always coming with this. Oh, the Democrats did this, and Trump. We stand behind Trump. Trump 2020, and that's who's gonna put out the red flag things. If you put a Trump 2020 sign out there, they're gonna come take your guns, and it's because of Trump that they're gonna take your guns. I mean, Trump has done more to grab guns than Barack Obama. If you are too dumb to figure that out, I don't know what else to tell you. Not that he's better or worse. That's just what's on his script, man. Obama was a gay male prostitute who's married to a dude who has a well-known penis. And you want to call this guy legitimate, and you want to call Michelle Obama, whose actual name is Michael, and Barack Obama, that's not even the guy's real name, and neither is Trump that guy's real name. I mean, what else do you need to know? And like, but it's just shameless liars combined with idiots who can't control their emotions and can't think clearly. And I'm thinking of anyone who prefers Democrats over Republicans or vice versa. I'm just saying, for me, there's no place safe. There's no place safe for anyone. And, man, all I can do is just pray and say, hey, you know, this is what they're doing. This is the easy solution. And if 10,000 people are going to show up with guns down at the Virginia State Capitol, which would be probably the largest armed demonstration that we've had in any recent time, why would you take that point of leverage and then ask the individuals who are waging war against you to stop? Say, hey, we're going to lobby. We're just going to lobby. Let's look up the word lobby. I want to do this for specifically the folks in Virginia. We're going to look up the word lobby. And then we're going to see if it's possible to lobby. And the first thing that pops up when I enter into Google lobby is Lobby Day 2020, Virginia. So you know that this is not genuine. It's not grassroots. A group of people seeking to influence politicians or public officials on a particular issue. Okay. So why would we lobby our servants? Is there, can you lobby your servants? Let me see. Lobby a servant. Servant. All right. Lobby a servant. I bet it's a thing because I bet these so-called libertarians, Hobby Lobby, a servant organization, Hobby Lobby founder Dave Goki, part of Wisconsin, blah blah blah, Divine Servant Award, Hobby Lobby.
Well, Chris, here's a better thing. Let's just do a little bit of mathematics. Instead of trying to see if we can find some sort of data by concatenating.
No. I'm saying that there is no information. That's my point. There's no information. It doesn't exist. You can't lobby a servant.
I think that point's going to go over most people. Well, I guess it's good. But now if you don't mind, I want to read the definition for servant.
Okay.
A person who performs duties for others, especially a person, well, we'll talk about this word, employed in a house on domestic duties or a personal attendant. I'll read an additional one. A person, that word again, employed in the service of a government, okay, a devoted and helpful follower or supporter. Yeah, so you can tell follower. I think that's an interesting word. These celebrities, these MK Ultra, these Satanists, they have followers. Everyone has followers on like social media.
Oh yeah.
But do you really do the big name Ariana Grande drink? Do they lobby their followers to come? No, they just say, "Here's my show. If you want to come, you come." Hey, here's what you want to do if you want civil society to be better. You come. Hey, if you're my government, stop doing all these crimes. If not, you're no longer my servant, and I'm going to do what is lawful. So it's, but once again, what makes it frustrating is you say this, but it is ingrained in the minds of the masses that the government is not no matter how much you tell what the truth is, the program takes precedent because. But I'm just saying that's what the masses do. So. Well,
the program
for that catharsis.
Yeah, the program does take precedence because they have usurped what's called original authority because. And I might as well do this here. I really like to try to save things, but there's no way of like saving everything. To I don't know, just get some sort of like payment for my work. I do take a payment for the work. I explicitly speak my mind to the public, and it's been seen. Nobody can pretend like they don't know exactly what I'm talking about all the time. I mean, because I talk a lot and I've been seen by a lot of people. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. Here's a here's what pops up when you put the word original authority definition into Google. The first thing that pops up is define original authority. It is a term that describes a police officer's ability to use his or her own discretion in policing duties, knowing they will be accountable for their decisions and actions. That's what it says that's the first thing that pops up. So let me read you the actual definition from Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, so that's what they say. So if somebody just pops that in, let's see. Okay, so it puts in as authority the lawful delegation of power by one person to another in the English law relating to public administration. That is authority. So we'll go to original authority. In the English law relating to the public administration, an authority is a body having jurisdiction in certain matters of public nature. In governmental law, legal power, a right to command or to act. The right and power of public officers to require obedience to their orders lawfully issued in the scope of their public duties. Authority to execute a deed must be given by deed. All right, so that has changed over the years, and I believe that they've even changed it since the last time I looked this up, because it's separating the words original and authority. What is original? Let's see. Original authority, primitive, first in order, bearing its own authority, and not deriving authority from an outside source, as original jurisdiction, original writ, etc., as applied to documents. The first is the first or copy or archetype, that from which another instrument is transcribed, copied, or imitated. So we are operating under original authority. We're operating and putting out original writs. We have original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction. So let's look up original jurisdiction. Jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction is what we're looking up now. In common law, legal systems, original jurisdiction of a court is the power to hear a case for the first time. Okay, so they're effing with our stuff again. Let's see. Black's Law will probably say something different, but they are really screwing with this, with the definitions of legal terms. It is outrageous. Original jurisdiction. This is the current iteration of Black's Law Dictionary. So let's see. The authority of a court that tried the case originally. Yeah, I don't think that's. They're really changing what the words mean. Yep. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what the problem is. When I started having to police what was going on, and I use that word because police is not a noun, it's a verb. When I have to police the militia, the Constitutional Virginia Militia page, when I find out who is leading the way on these talking points, on trolling the pages, it's cops. And basically when I tell these cops, like, hey, you don't have anything to do with the militia, you're actually the enemy of the people, then they start saying, oh, I see you're a sovereign citizen. Sovereign and citizen are contradictory terms. I'm a sovereign man, but as all I have to say is that I'm a man, and therefore I am sovereign over all governments that I do not subject myself to. So that's something to realize. You don't need to know any tricks. You don't need to know any special words. You just...
So, Chris.
Yeah.
I'd like to read from Romans chapter 2, verse 15.
Yep. Please.
Which shew the work of the law. Was that?
Yeah, no, sorry, it's the delay. I was saying, yeah, please do.
Okay. Which shew the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing, or else excusing one another. So I just wanted to reiterate the fact that the law is written on so you know what the law is, like, from, and that was the thing David mentioned to me when he called earlier today, is that, like, when I was telling that anecdote on that one government honeypot we were exposing the other night, that a child comprehended that the behavior of the Khazarian mafia was immoral and, like, not natural. So, right. And my point is that is, like, no matter what they do with the manipulation on their DARPANET apparatus, you know what the truth is. The only reason you want to fight is because you're traumatized for the masses out there. But
yeah, absolutely.
Their opinions aren't particular. They don't matter.
Absolutely. folks just can't act right anymore. They don't know how to properly act. They make a joke out of everything, or they act as if everything is something sad. It's a real weird manipulation. Folks that don't. It's not that great. Like it's absolutely not that great. And the price of housing is the real problem. I was listening to a interview with that guy Andrew Yang, and basically he was on in the background. He had his talking points, and now he's leveraging his FaceTime, his scripted talking points on the TV show that they call the debates, and I hear the word out of his mouth, underemployment. And this is the Democrats, all of them millionaires and billionaires, except for the guy that dines with them in their underground wine bunkers. So all of them are millionaires and billionaires except for Pete Buttigieg, or Pete Buttigieg. And so this guy is talking about individuals being underemployed or working two jobs. But this guy never, ever says the price of housing is exorbitantly too high and every individual is underpaid for their job. So if the point of having a job is to serve a need in society, which includes self-sufficiency of the employee, the entire system has failed. And he brings up the talking points of Donald Trump, which a lot of the times, some of the times, what he says is actually true if you unpack it enough. Not saying that that's good or bad or indifferent, that doesn't make him less of a demon or less treasonous. He just says, oh, and Donald Trump said the employment rate doesn't count it doesn't count anybody except for those who are eligible, and he doesn't even say this, but I'm telling you this, but he's insinuating this, that are eligible for unemployment benefits. That's what they say are people who are unemployed. Those who are receiving unemployment benefits. And they'll tell you that. They'll tell you that once every 5 times they tell you they'll tell you about the unemployment numbers. The number of people receiving unemployment benefits shrunk this week to 225,000. So it is all warped. Nothing works properly. It can't be reformed. This was something I said over and over again to the folks in Occupy who were not government agents but were following government agents. You can't reform this system. It's 8 years later. You can't reform this system. It's unreformable. It is not operating wrongly. It is operating properly. You are in I don't even like the fact that they made a movie called The Matrix, because they basically they made that word, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It's meaningless because everybody's seen that movie. They go, yeah, that's right. That is the way the system works. I love it. That's what everybody says. Or maybe they don't even love it. They gotta have it. They gotta have it.
It's a way they can accept the truth, but not. It's like the way the Khazarian intelligence agents do, where they tell you the truth and deny what that means.
Yes.
A way for them to say the truth but not feel it. And so this is why feelings are important, but you can't get caught up in your feelings. So it's like and it's like, but they don't even know what they're saying, and that's what most think. And it's like, it's like, hey man, if you say that it's true, that means if you're not doing something to stop it, your life is meaningless.
Well, absolutely. And Muhammad brought up something that I wanted to discuss, and it just slipped my mind. The cost of everything. You know, we kind of referenced that earlier when we talked about money, and I would love for the audience to be able to, you know, have a conversation about what's going on specifically with all this stuff. But since we can, it doesn't really matter as much because there's a cost to everything, and the cost is too expensive for everything because that's the way it's set up. The cost of everything is the maximum. What kind of cost is it? It's the maximum. When I was in retail, I undercut everybody's prices. And what did I try to do? I tried to undercut them, my competitors' prices at the maximum level that I could maximize. Like, it's the highest level I thought I could sell this at. It's maximum. It's about getting as much money as one thinks that they can. That's what everything is based on. And when we talked last week and say 50% of the population works for $18,000 or less a year, so that's the poverty level. It's not like they go like, "Hey, I love working for $10 an hour. I love it." It's the maximum that they can get. You know, and there's always caveats. Hey, maybe I could get another job paying more, but I would risk my life more, or I just couldn't handle anything more. This is the best of the worst case scenario. That is the society. That's what I do. That's what makes me happy. I make the best of this hellscape that I possibly can. I make the best of a garbage situation. That's why I also say I don't agree to any contract. I don't agree to anything that I sign or anything like this phone. Amanda was sitting there with me when I got the phone, and they're like, well, they screwed up at the phone store. I'm not even gonna, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. They screwed up, and I was like, well, I thought I traded in this old school phone and I got this new fancy phone for free because everybody wants everybody else on the smart grid, so they're getting rid of this phone. I can't use my old phone anymore. After December 31st, it cuts off. So this woman, and I don't know whether she was playing a little scam or whether she was, whether the computer system was playing a scam, but basically the phone, this one, it does some stuff. I don't even know. Like, I'm just showing you and telling you what's going on. Just showing you and telling you what's going on. This phone was going to be $8 extra. This phone wasn't available to me, and the next phone that was available to me was going to charge me $8 extra a month. It was going to charge the account holder $8 extra dollars a month. I'm like, yeah, I guess there must have been some kind of mistake, but I got to get a new phone. We're here, with the work schedule and car problems and everything else. It's not easy for me to get out. It's not like, oh, come back tomorrow then. And let's. I'm like, okay, we're here. We got to get this. Got to get this done. So I sign NA. And then come to find out, oh, no, that's not it. We can get it for free. And so the first contract and the second contract, I said, the first one being fraudulent, the second one being about what I thought. I'm not a party to it. I don't agree to it. You see, they want to have everything be something like, oh, read this 1,000-word thing before you can agree to be on Facebook. Oh, you agreed to it? Read this thing. Oh, hey, I know you agree to something every month on YouTube, but in order to sign back on now, you've got to agree to this new thing that we came up with.
60
Oh,
seconds.
oh, you don't agree with it? Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad. Then you can't use this.
I want to get into that with YouTube and Instagram a little bit, and
Let's
just all
go.
the social media. So I saw an article that was on futurism about Instagram facilitating child traffickers, but for YouTube, now when I upload videos, and you've probably seen this too, that's like or maybe you haven't, but it's like we've got. Maybe I can pull it up right now. You're legally required to make sure your content is child friendly, and I'm like, you guys facilitate the most disgusting, unchild friendly stuff. You can you can find stuff that rivals 4chan, so-called the B board. Like, so I mean, it's just a mockery within mockery. It's like I don't know. I mean, I don't like this. Like, gets me when I see it, but every time it's just like, fuck yeah. I mean, like, flake off, flake off.
Well, I mean, it's absurd. It's a real absurdity what they think that they have going. They are shameless. The worst predators are the most shameless. Are the most shameless about acting as if everyone else is. Oh, you got to make sure that this is child friendly. Of course, it's child friendly. Like, it's unfriendly not to teach children how the world works. That's one thing that I am angry about. Nobody told me how the world works.
Amen.
That's the only thing that I hold grudges on. Not that I was subjected to the way the world works, but I was lied to about it. And it's irresponsible. It's really, the intelligence level of what really matters. We're lower than the animals as far as that goes. Animals have instincts. They can only go so far, but they definitely have instincts, and they never go against their instincts. And basically, if one trusts one's own instincts and views everything that they're being told as a lie, then they will be able to comprehend how the world works. Or if one can properly analyze the lies. I mean, sometimes pick out the truth from the lies. That everybody's going to tell you some kind of truth, but what really matters is the outcome. What is the outcome going to be? That is the only thing that matters, and the outcome will never improve until this government tyranny is removed from the shoulders of the American people. That's the first step. I would say that the American people are super pathetic, judging from the people in Hong Kong and the people in Paris, but they waited too late. They're done. They're finished. As soon as the People's Army, and it's already happening, the People's Army comes in there to Hong Kong, they're done. And Paris, same thing. They're just like tearing up their own nice country. They got it better than us. If Americans had what the French had, man, I probably wouldn't even complain as much. Except for one thing. Neither one of them have guns. So it doesn't matter how many yellow jackets they got out on the street, how many times the cop takes their helmet off and stands with the protesters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many umbrellas you have in Hong Kong. It's a joke, man. You're finished. Now you may go down fighting like a warrior, and I'll give you props for that. But man, I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in conquering my enemy. I'm interested in smiting the synagogue of Satan. So whatever I have to do for that's what's going on. I'm not worried about convincing other folks. I mean, again, what's really funny? This joker, Richard Carey, who did an interview with me, whatever the other guy's name was, Nicholas. He's got a picture of Cesare Borgia as his dressed as Jesus, and I don't even know whether that was the attempt, but that's who it is. It's a painting of Cesare Borgia wearing the Pope's crown, one of the that cylindrical looking crown that the picture of Jesus is associated with, but it's actually Cesare Borgia. Basically, he wouldn't answer questions on the air. Like, I started talking about, hey, everybody you've worked with has been a CIA agent or an FBI agent. That's the same with a lot of these guys that do radio. They're on the radio. So, I didn't know that then. We had a falling out because of that, or he did this, or he did that, or I didn't know about that. Who's that? I never heard that name. Well, I'm telling you now. I don't want you to tell me about it. I just didn't hear about it then. I didn't know about it then, which is a lie. Talking about Mary Catherine Barton, the FBI agent that runs, or is at least the handler of Kyle Hunt and Sinead McCarthy, and had a show using a fake name. That's another thing that these guys use: fake names, fake voices. One person will play multiple characters, etc., etc. And this guy, basically, I like to, when I'm hitting on a point, keep that brief. That's the point. I don't want to get into all this other stuff. This guy writes after the show, after I hung up on the show, writes this thing. Stephen D. Kelly's not a CIA agent. He's a civilian contractor. My problem with him, the reason I left his station was because he was censoring Graham Sutherland, and I was by that point moonlighting on Renegade Broadcasting already, and then I had the falling out with them and blah blah blah, and I left before this and after that, and I've never seen this and I'm like, it's there, it's there. If you don't know about it, then you don't know enough. If you didn't know about it, then your ignorance is not an excuse. Then you just happen to be on with all these CIA agents and you're not smart enough to call them out. But it's this long, drawn out things. And then if he says, I'm sincere. If you are sincere, then I wish you the best. And I'm like, give me a break. I don't need, when someone, and I'm going to post this on the Constitutional Virginia Militia page, and I'm going to say, here's the father of this modern militia movement, the legitimate modern militia movement, and they'll see that is also the father of weaponizing space for the United States government. When I am forced to be deferential, I shall be. And the only way that I'm forced to do something is when it's in my own best interest to show deference and to view someone else's information as more primary, with more original jurisdiction than my own. And the only one I can think of that has that, he's passed away. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman, or Dr. Robert Bowman. So, besides that, when somebody goes, oh, hey, what about this, Chris? Like, if it's important, I already know about it. If it's not, you'll waste my time because I'll look into it. And every time somebody informs me of something, and I wish to waste any more time, I'll tell them, I already knew this, or quit wasting my time. So, I'm being very stern and serious because I don't know how else to be. I don't have any interest in doing anything else outside of thinking independently and at the spur of the moment. But no one else is in a position to judge my sincerity. No one else is in any position to question my actions. That unless I have some sort of special relationship with them, where I demur. But besides that, there's not one human being on this planet. The worst and most crass human beings are in no position to question my sincerity or anyone else's sincerity that works with this program. So I can just leave it at that. If Cliff, if you were on that call, if you'd like to add anything to it, it gets into the point where, hey, if you don't know this stuff, if you don't know these individuals and their handlers, Pete Santilli, freaking Vinny Eastwood, Mary Catherine Barton, if you don't know the normal run-of-the-mill crowd, Susan Posel, if you don't know these things about these things, Rick Heskey, I mean, this guy is popping back up. I got a question about, hey, you said that Kyle Hunt and Sinead McCarthy were FBI and that they were being handled by someone named Mary. Can you inform me about that? This guy named Alan Madden sent me a message on the page, and I said, sure, absolutely.
I would let that get to me, man.
It's not getting to me.
Whatever.
But Clifford, it's getting to me at the exact proper level of getting to me. Because I don't know whether this guy, Alan Madden, is telling the truth, but I go to his page because he asked for something on my page, so I'm going to post the answer on his. So I did that, and then I see a bunch of videos from a militia intelligence report retread that calls himself Rick Heskey, not his real name. I call him Rick Handsome because he's just making up some name. I presume the guy's Jewish. He looks Jewish, and he's certainly not English. And the videos that he puts out there are very, like, Irish people under attack. And when he posts his videos, he's always Manchester. He's got the the Ulster flag in the background, very English and UK centric, persona. But the guy, he's not even English. He's not Irish. So I'm like, yeah, hey, here's the stuff you were saying, and I was getting ready to say, you got to be blind not to see these guys for what they are, because it's verification, and like folks want to give like, what, how little information do I have to give you and be verified? Like, how much can I hide from you and still trick you into thinking that someone's verifiable, they're legitimate, they're sincere, etc., etc. I'm talking about Rick Heskey. R-I-C-K.
And I mean, my thing is...
Somebody's asking a blind guy...
That's the lack of instinct.
Right. What? Okay. You see, this stuff is the most important to me. See, this is what's most important to me. So, like, I believe I give everything the proper... I believe it. It's my belief. It's beyond just what I think. It's my religious belief. It's my deepest religious belief. So when I say something, I can say it and 5 years later, go back and say, well, hey, look at this interview I did. I would say if you analyzed every single interview that a so-called expert gave on this subject, that no one else can touch my analysis. So when I say something, I'm rarely proven wrong. Now, I'm wrong when I leave something lying around the house and I think I leave it one place and I'm told it's actually in another. I'm wrong about that. But when I say things in an interview or when I say things on the public, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. And the reason I'll say I'm never wrong is because no one can point to this and it's already been verified. Go ahead.
When you say that no one can touch your analysis, so when you say no one can touch your now. So I guess you mean like
What I
Hulk
mean,
Hogan.
what
I'm
I
thinking
mean by that, let me unpack that then. There is absolutely not one other person out there that has been given the opportunity or has taken the opportunity to say the things that I have. And there's a good reason for that, because you won't get paid. No one will pay you any money to say what I'm saying. It is against the interest of every single person making over $80,000 a year to repeat anything that I'm saying. And they will never do it. And these guys want to make a living at what they're doing. They make their living talking on the TV, leveraging their opinions. So that's what I mean.
Yeah, I figured that's where you were going to go when you said let's unpack that. Because when you say, yeah, because it's not so much that no one has the capability to. It's kind of like, I think a Confucian quote, I don't want to butcher it, but essentially he hadn't seen anyone who was capable of true goodness, or who had not been true, who truly loved goodness. But he saw that people, well, they have the capacity for it. I just haven't seen anyone fulfill it.
Well, yeah, they certainly they can do that. I mean, and when I'm debating someone, and I'm not just speaking what I think, and sometimes I'm debating the news host, and sometimes I'm debating another individual. When I say the most important things, they go out of their way to denigrate and degrade and attack the most important things. The least important things get the least attack. The most important things, oh, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. That's the craziest thing ever. The Bank for International Settlements doesn't have much power. They don't have much authority. That's not really even a thing that matters that much. Oh, it's absurd. Al-Qaeda carried out 9/11. It wasn't Israel. It wasn't the United States government. That's absurd. Other things I'll say, yeah, they can't really, they'll keep their powder dry to attack that. And all they have is no facts, but just 100%, what's the word I'm looking for? Outrage. They're outraged at it. Misplaced outrage is the worst freaking thing. I mean, besides usury. But this misplaced outrage.
Okay, I'd like to read from Matthew chapter 5, verse 12. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Yeah, actually, the one I wanted to read was verse 11, so I'll just read 11 and 12. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
Yep. I mean, it's all there. It's all there, and that's the basis of the law. And I will never move from that point. I'll never degrade the Bible. I'm not going to tell you it's Jewish propaganda. I'm not going to tell you any other kind of BS. I'm going to say, hey, stand behind it. And if it says something wrong, it's not wrong. You just read it wrong. You interpreted it wrong. And it never just means one thing. It always has a triune meaning. A triune meaning. So let's get into triune meaning. And I want to talk about our English common law. And let me see. Maybe I'll go to. Cliff? Did you get a chance to share this to the militia, Constitutional Virginia Militia page?
So I've got the iPad because I don't want to log out on my phone because then I don't want to try to remember passwords. So I tried logging on the iPad, but it was logged out, and I tried using the password. I don't know if I just keep messing it up, but
oh yeah, well you know I had to change the password again to the primary account. I was just hoping that maybe you would just copy it and paste it on that page because like anybody can can post on it.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'll go. Like, I'm gonna go mute for a second, and then I'll just go.
Okay, yeah, because I do. They did. Every time that they ban us from sharing, they're making me change my password, and so I've had, I don't know, 25 different passwords in the past. I don't know, 4 or 5 years. It can get kind of confusing. Let's see. Where were we gonna go with this? Oh, that's right. The triune basis of our government structure, and of course this page is loading extremely slow now, but we'll be patient. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot. Okay, we got a lot of good content on this. I've been, doing a little history lesson um, on the constitutional Virginia militia, about the command structure of the militia, the origin of the militia, obviously going back to the time of King Alfred the Great, and even before King Alfred the Great, putting the concept of the feared out there, FYRD. Here, I'll read this quote. The triune basis of all natural law, which is God's law, the militia clause as a fundamental right was based upon three solid English rights: the right to revolution, which I would call the right to rebellion, the right to group self-preservation, and the right of self-defense. Under Article 13 of Virginia Declarations of Rights, George Mason wrote that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people, trained to arms, is a natural, proper, and safe defense of a free state, that standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. Now, a lot of folks will take that and say that the civil power means the Congress, but that's not what it means when discussing the state militia before there was even a legitimate Congress in Washington, D.C., because this document, the Virginia Declaration of Rights, predates even the Declaration of Independence. It predates the Declaration of Independence. It predates the Articles of Confederation, and it certainly predates and is the basis of the Bill of Rights and Constitution for the United States of America. So, yeah, triune basis means it has like everything has three different meanings in the Bible. The triune meaning of everything in the Bible. You'll see the image of the triune. Basically, the if you turn a peace sign upside down, what's known as a peace sign, you get the image for the triune. You'll get the image for the triune meaning behind all things at three levels: the Holy Trinity, etc., etc., the magic three. It's why they sing that song. 3 is a magic number. So anyway, yeah, Cliff is a mathematician, so he probably has a good bit to say about all this.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on.
Well,
and
just
on.
go whatever you think is the most important right now.
I mean, as far as 3, I mean, it's what I find interesting is that since every number can be written as ones and zeros in binary code, I find it interesting that 3 is just written as 1 1, because that symbolizes the 2 to the 0 power, which is 1, and 2 to the 1st power, which is 2, and 1 and 2 make 3. And so 1, 1, 11 can also symbolize 3. But then what is 11? 11 is 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then, but what is that? That's 2 represented in 2, 1. So it it's all encapsulated. So I mean, one interesting thing about, I guess, the limitations of 3 is that you can't have a 3-dimensional form that's only 3 sides. But I mean, that's the thing with the triune, the piece side. It's like, what? So it's open, but you have the 2 points at the bottom and the 2 points at top. It's like an open triangle. But then you need 3 sides to close 2-dimensional space. You need 4 sides to close 3-dimensional space to make an enclosure.
Right. So isn't it the first step? Isn't building a pyramid the first step to building a cube?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's just
Like a triangle could be the first step to building a square. Like you make
right.
2 triangles of similar. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this is some sacred geometry, but everything's sacred geometry. Hitting a baseball, driving a car, operating anything with one's senses is geometry. Everything has a shape. Everything has a structure. So, I mean, what we know and what we need to know, and what I learn every day, it's too much. It's too much to disseminate, and that's all I'm interested in is learning more, learning why I'm here, why my bridge to God. I'm not interested in pleasing human beings. I'm interested in pleasing God. Because that's the highest attainable goal. I used to be interested in who won a football game, or what kind of pizza I was gonna eat at night, or watching my favorite TV show. Not saying one can't find happiness and enjoyment in things. However, my priorities are heavily weighted to finding out what is the purpose. Why am I here? Why am I interacting with the individuals that I'm interacting with? Why am I having the adverse reaction to almost everything I see in society? Why is everything so backwards? Why is everybody such a liar? Not everybody, but why are most individuals such degenerate liars? How do we get here? Why is there a destructive force that is enslaving everyone? What do they get out of that? Why am I so different and have such a different mentality? Is there a difference? Is it genetics? Is it a combination of genetics and astrological effects? How did God shape this scenario that we all find ourselves in at this particular second? What else is of any consequence? I really don't. I don't really care for small talk too much, other than as a way to further something much larger and much more important. If I'm forced to do small talk, if the rules are, hey Chris, you got to make small talk with someone and then make them feel comfortable, and then it would be better for you to motivate them to seek the purpose that they have, to see things in a certain kind of way, because I believe folks are so warped that what they truly want is not only destructive to them, which is fine, but it's destructive to all life on the planet, and that I can't abide by. I can't see suffering, and it makes me disgusted when I see, man making extinct animals that are far less destructive of God's plan and planet than the average human being. Yeah, I don't know.
Amen. I wanna read some. The Bible's really been hitting today.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you can't have too much from the Bible.
So I want to do Matthew chapter 6. I want to go a couple ones because I want to give it context. Chapter 6, verse 19 through 33. And this is Jesus talking. This is the Christ.
Right.
Lay not up yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thine whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewith shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need for all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I might as well finish up the chapter. So, take therefore no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Yeah, amen. You can't serve God and money at the same time. You can't serve God and the United States government at the same time. You can't serve anything that is a corporate structure based in usury and God at the same time, because it is all based in carrying out usury against your fellow man. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible, and it's like that. Like, if God will take care of the birds, you see that's where it's really hitting home with me, seeing a lot of these folks camping out, living in tents, living on the street, just on park benches, or any place that they can get out of the elements, or at least shield themselves partially from the elements, because we can certainly take care of these individuals. We certainly don't have to see our fellow human beings living like that. But as was said at the beginning of the broadcast, we don't have our government has taken the power away from us to even feed these folks in some cases. I posted something, I think it was Monday. It was outrageous. It was outrageous. A 91-year-old man getting arrested in Miami for serving the homeless food. Now, that should just be the last straw when that should be the only news story on television, and just say, hey, when this happens, every police force has to be abolished. Everybody, our purpose on earth has failed, and we just need to start over from the beginning and say, we're not going to starve people out in America. We're not going to allow folks to lie on a underground hundreds of millions of dollar valued wine bunkers. So when the police are arresting a 91-year-old for feeding hungry people, the government's abolished. Maybe we should do one of those, like, you might be a redneck if. What was that? Jeff Foxworthy. Oh my God. That was the worst. But it was, anybody could do it. You might be a redneck if.
Your government might be, I feel like your government might be treasonous, is more adaptable for most minds out there. Your government might be, if you were to try to just copy and...
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing out there an idea. Yeah, you're probably right, but, I mean, my idea is the government is abolished. It's not my idea. It is the case. When this happens, your government is done. It's finished. Like, life on planet Earth is meaningless. Maybe that's better. Life on planet Earth is meaningless when a 91-year-old man is arrested and put in a cage for feeding hungry people. Like, there's no sense to go on with government when, I mean, add your own thing. Like, I might be making a point by somebody else at home thinking...
Is meaningless. You can do different takes on it. But
right, that's my point. Let me get...
Earth is meaningless is like the one that hits the most. But
Sure. I just, my point might be, my analogies might be so bad that somebody else can figure out a better analogy, and that is what makes them click. Because, like, no matter how I say it, I didn't arrest this guy for feeding homeless people. I am actually outraged by it, and I'm outraged by almost everything that society does. But that is a last absolute straw. Just like the rape dogs. Or the our tax dollars, what we pay for, ends up the worst and most psychotic wastes of oxygen are exported to other countries or work in our police forces and rape children in front of their own mothers. That's what police and military do inside the United States, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Cuba, at Guantanamo Bay. That's what's going on. And I wanted to say another thing. There's a movie that's coming out where it focuses on Dianne Feinstein and the makes heroes out of alleged government whistleblowers regarding torture. And I think we've covered this on the show recently, this movie. But I want to wish to reiterate that every Republican and every Democrat knew and was getting virtual tours of torture. That's virtual. They're viewing the torture from a remote setting, just like you are getting a virtual tour into my thoughts and into my little kind of studio, for lack of a better term. Every Republican and every Democrat in any leadership position in the House of Representatives and the Senate knew about the torture from at least the late fall of 2001. Now, these torture memos came out, and they acted outraged like they had never seen it, and the Republicans covered it up. Just like the Obama administration and the Democrats covered up torture during the Obama administration. So if one sticks around long enough in politics, they will both carry out, cover up, and pretend to expose torture and every other disgusting crime that one can imagine. So that's what one needs to know. But every single Democrat and every single Republican knew and had witnessed torture being carried out from the late fall of 2001 until the first stuff started leaking out. And I can tell you, the media knew about it too. They knew the whole time, because we knew about it. And I'll say, I believe I did the right thing when I created my first YouTube video back in 2008, and I confronted the lead counsel for the Democratic Party on Capitol Hill in the office of Representative Bobby Scott, ranking member of the Judiciary and Intelligence Committee, and confronted him about torture. Because that's the last straw, man. What don't you guys get? And now we're talking about the most important thing. We got the fewest viewers, but that's fine. Yep. This life is nothing but a test. Yeah, it's a test. Everything's a test. Oh yeah, living in RVs too. Yeah, a lot of folks are living in RVs, living in their vehicles, living in their cars.
It's the criminal state of California where Dianne Feinstein does not serve the Californians but wages war against them. They're trying to not let people live in their cars. Because once again, they have to stop everything that might combat the mind control. As I told those government agents on Richard Carey's little honeypot, there are literally legions of Uber, Lyft drivers, and if they're not going to be able to live in their cars, because a lot of them are sleeping in their cars, maybe they have access to housing, but they're sleeping in their cars to work. They're not sleeping in their cars because they're homeless. They're sleeping because they have to sleep, and it's because they have to keep going and making more money and taking people who make more money than them doing something more criminal to their criminal jobs, or comparable money. Who knows? It varies. Making more money than them, at least from Lyft and Uber. But so yeah, and because the people have that time to sit together and gather around, they'll be like, we could just all of us we could shut down the Federal Reserve Bank just by overloading it with vehicles, or attempt to. We could do something rather than nothing. And
well, I'll tell you another thing, Cliff.
They can't have that.
Cliff. It's not. It's
for that to not happen. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Whether it happens like in Hong Kong when it's too late, it's too late. Somebody's gonna go down fighting. But what I'm also saying is that's a great idea, and that idea is out there. It's not up to every job. There's a person who says every work. There's a person who says, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Dunkin' Donuts, the donut guy. Time to check the donuts. He's working for the Dunkin' Donuts boss, the CEO. He goes and checks the donuts. He's not the big boss. He's the guy that checks the donuts. The big boss goes, hey, make the donuts. And he's like, okay, I make the donuts. Got to check the donuts. this might be. I don't know if people of millennials are familiar with the time to check the donuts guy, but that used to be the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. So you say, Clifford.
I'm not familiar, but
Well, anyway, lots of folks are. Time to check the donuts. So Clifford, you go, hey guys, time to make the donuts, and they go, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm an Uber driver. What? You're supposed to organize the Uber drivers when you're not. But you can organize any group of people. You put the order out, it's up to the people to do it. You can lead a horse to water, and a horse is going to drink if they're thirsty. That's not the same with human beings. A human being is a much more irrational, demonic being than a horse. A horse is a horse, as the song goes. There's another reference that is even older than the time to check the donuts guy. But anyway, yeah, it's not up to the leader to carry it out. The pitcher does not pitch the ball and then play catcher and hit a home run all at the same time. Everybody has a role. Everybody plays their role. And I think that's another problem with the society. Everyone wants to be a pundit. Everyone wants to be an analyst. Everyone wants to be the leader. Everybody wants to be a thinker. And I believe, like everything else, it's got to be based on ability to lead. Who has the best ideas? And if this stuff is obvious, it's been done over and over again. None of my ideas are unique. All of my ideas come from God. All of my ideas come from people smarter than myself.
We gotta ask who out there that can hack predator drones that does not want to see this satanic society continue.
But doesn't that all go with that? Yeah, but my point is, it all goes without saying, because we have a large militia mustering of folks who own conventional firearms that are extremely justifiably angry at the government. However, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it when you have robot drones, killbots, biological warfare, weather warfare, tectonic warfare, etc., money warfare, which controls all the other warfare. It's not going to cut it. So, something else has to cut it. What's it going to be? What's the plan? Is that going to work? If it's a stupid plan, then that individual who put forward the plan must be disregarded. If it's an obvious plan, then it's something known by a lot of folks. I didn't need to write the Militia Handbook. I mean, if somebody else did the proper meditation, every other person could have written the Militia Handbook, but nobody else did. And it's all there. How do you win a basketball game? Score more. One team scores more points than the other. Okay. Well, how does that get done? Well, some people like to take three-pointers. Some teams like to focus on defending and keeping the amount of points that the other team scores to a minimum. Some people wish to outscore the other team by taking more three-pointers. Everybody's got a little different way to do it. But at the end of the day, however it has to be done. How are we going to do this? That's what everybody keeps asking. Well, I wrote a book on it. I didn't read your book. Okay, then the answer is however it has to be done. How are we going to do this, Chris? I wrote a book. I didn't read your book. Fuck you. Okay. Then the easy answer to the question is however it has to get done. Well, what has to get done? This government has to be abolished. And the planet needs to be cleaned up. And the distribution of money has to be different, or else there's going to be eternal slavery for all time until the inevitable quote unquote end of the world. So I don't know. I mean, Cliff, what do you think about that? Because like I noticed tonight we've been kind of, I don't know, maybe not on the same wavelength in certain ways, which is I enjoy. It's fine, but this is it's like how many ways do you have to say the same thing when it's all so simple? And we go like, well, we got 3 hours of content, but like all we have to really say is like 5 minutes worth of stuff. Everybody's like, oh, I like that story. Oh, that story's interesting. That one speaks to me. I like that. I'm getting enjoyment. It's like, what? Go ahead. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, yeah, you're fine. I would just say that would be one critique where it's like, where brevity, like, so think of maybe we should structure the short more as making points and like being concise with the logical argument.
Hey Cliff, I think you and I are worried about different things. I think we're totally worried about concerned about different things. Like I just wish for you to react to the things that I just said, not how I can say that better to the people. I don't, because I have disdain for them, and like that's it. With somebody that has as much knowledge as we have, I believe that most folks are Grinches and Scrooges. I think most folks that know as much as we do about how everything works, they're ready for like the end of the world. I've talked to them. They're like, oh yeah, people are disgusting. I'm disgusting too. I hope the world just ends. I can't wait for the apocalypse. Let's bring it on. On cue.
I guess that's really true.
Yeah, check out who's watching this insurance agent, this kike insurance agent named Josh Viles. So, we're going to try to bring him on because I'm going to see, because I've had absolutely enough with these degenerates. And, this guy is a real degenerate scumbag. And, I'd like to bring him on the show. Yep.
Well, as that song and dance continues as it does, I'll go ahead and say that I've talked to people that say they plan to kill themselves at a particular point in time as a sort of to avoid the hellscape.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think you talk to a lot of that's a really damaged mindset. I mean, that is a real damaged mindset, but there's a lot of folks with it. They'd rather kill themselves than and that's what the enemy is doing. I mean, they put that self-destruct programming into certain folks. Victims of child rape, and
this was, I'll
right.
disclose this much. This was someone who was the victim of child molestation.
Right. Okay. Well, so there you go. That's they instead of wishing to destroy the entity that destroyed them, they wish to kill themselves, and that works out the best, especially for the folks that victimize them. Because they can't even be accused of anything. Let's see. Oh, Lordy. Yeah.
I mean, that's where it gets really dark. Then is where we really talk about the sort of satanic. Because then you're thinking, like, if you think super logically, then if you're just a psychopath, then it's like your incentive, if you are to engage in any sort of behavior like molesting children, you want to traumatize them as much as possible to increase the chance that they do kill themselves and that they can't accuse you of anything. And you're more likely to not be held accountable for your crimes. It's really messed up, and I don't necessarily like having that kind of revelation that's how these demons take it. That's how they think.
Yeah, I mean, it is disgusting.
But it's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just getting
But
a
how's it going
text.
with bringing Josh Vile on?
Yeah. So, in any event, I'm just sorry. I was texting with or messaging with someone who is wondering if I got their text messages and just trying to make sure if everything's okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry.
But I will say I am ready for the next watershed event of this satanic operation up there. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to get moving forward for like what I mean. This can only like there has to be a. I'm ready for whatever salient shift is coming. That's a good name. That might be a good name for a song. But I'm waiting for the shift that will be salient even to the Walking Dead. That's what I'm anxious for, and I get energy thinking about that when I wake up in the morning. Maybe that's my damaged mindset, but I don't know, or it's a coping mechanism.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't like to put labels on everything. I think everything's been psychoanalyzed. So like when I talk about that guy Josh Viles, like that guy is like just a degenerate liar. I mean, he's a pathetic liar. One of the main things I remember from him is when 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 I would do, he would be one of those guys that when I would do interviews, and a lot of you can see this and have seen this. I'll do interviews with local news stations, and then he'll be there to either mess it up, talk all over it, heckle, yell, scream, curse, whatever he has to do, or then just say, bad mouth. Oh, you shouldn't ever put this guy out. He doesn't speak for this group. He doesn't speak for that group. He's like a pathetic human being that I look forward to seeing face to face again very soon. And I'd like to bring him on. I don't know what's going on with somebody named Bo Glavin. I doubt that that's anything legitimate, but I don't know. He says Josh threatened my family. I think that that's probably some sort of friend of Josh Vile. See, these folks, they can never be honest about everything. Everything is sarcasm. Everything is and it's because it's in their blood. They can't help it. They come from a brain that's infected like a rabid animal, and like there's just absolutely no hope for them. Absolutely none in their genetics, in their damaged souls. They just have to be treated like rabid animals, or else they're going to destroy everything good in humanity. And that's I guess that's about the nicest way I can put it. Cliff, do you know persons like that?
I mean, let me respond properly. Just that are just possibly. I mean, maybe I'm not fully saying. I mean, I think everyone has demons to some degree, and I mean,
I'm just saying that certain people, certain persons, and hey, let's flesh this out. I believe that the Khazar bloodline, those with a certain physical features that everyone with eyes to see can see, that genetically they have to be highly regulated with rules. And I believe history is showing us this, and current events.
I mean, yeah.
Or they,
That's the point I was gonna say with mixed blood. Like it's as if I see for those of that literally the battle between the desire to do good and the desire to do evil, or to set service to self and service to others. Let's say, like I mean, it is what it is. I don't really know what to say outside of that. I mean, I think people have intentions and might try, or or maybe it's even more sinister than I can imagine. But
I mean, yeah, I've seen.
I don't know. I mean,
There's some
I've definitely run across people like that, but I don't feel.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right. Well, they just cut us off. They just cut us off of Blog Talk, so we're just gonna end the show there. It's a good show. I don't know what else to say. Everybody keeps catching up to where we were 10 years ago. So this militia movement's catching up to where we were 10 years ago, and we hope that it's not too late. We got Cliff's back on. Yeah, we're gonna close up the show. I was just closing it up. We'll give you last final thoughts on tonight's show. Just basically saying, hey, folks are catching up to where we were 10 years ago, and especially with this militia, I guess, interest here in Virginia. I don't want to insult it by calling it a movement, but it's too late, and these guys, I mean, the enemy's getting more and more emboldened, and we'll see it. We'll see war. We'll see an expansion of war because the war is already raging right now. So, final thoughts, Cliff?
And I think the emboldening is also, I think there's fear to it too, but different levels. At the top of the top, I don't think they're worried. So let me put it this way. The people you want to vote for, they're not going to work for this is for the masses. The people you want to vote for, they're not going to be worried when the Uber drivers come up with that idea of surrounding the Federal Reserve Bank with their cars and running over every middle-class, dumb, idiot, trash, bipedal vermin that gets in their way. The people you vote for, they're not going to be worried about it, but you might have to be worried about it.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, they got those without an escape route. And I can tell you, if I had any way to build an escape route for myself, I definitely would. I certainly would, because I mean, it's no sense in me telling you over and over and over again about what's going on, and then just forgetting about myself. I would love to have everyone just have underground bunkers like they do in Russia and like they do in North Korea, but we don't even have that. Definitely in Switzerland. So good luck. My goal is to remove myself from society and be very selective about who I wish to interact with. I mean, I'm already doing that, but I'd like to do that a little more effectively, and maybe add some more individuals to interact with, and then maybe have that be our goal. Be the sovereign over the slave people, and make the slave citizens' lives a little bit better, so that they cannot harm us as much and harm God's creation. So there you have it. I mean, certain persons must be eliminated, and I really look forward to that day when they are. And if I'm one of the individuals that is eliminated first, there's no hope. Because you'll fight a losing battle and maybe everyone will die, but there certainly won't be any leadership to take anyone to a higher level of humanity, or a higher level of the apex of man. This is the age of Aquarius that is the transition period. It's a long transition period, and I just have contempt for no living things except most persons. So I'll just leave it at that. I have no contempt for a shark. I have no contempt for a crocodile. I have no contempt for a bear. I don't have any contempt for a rabid dog or a rabid raccoon, because they can't help it. They're just being them. But God has instructed us to operate on a higher level, and it's certainly not being done. And everybody's basing their life in usury. So we'll close off with this one thing, and we'll dedicate it to Josh Viles and his insurance usury. All right. So, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks for paying attention. And that's about all I can thank you for, because besides that, I mean, what is there? It's not like anybody's financing this program or anything. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. So there's nobody out there in any sort of industry, including quote-unquote nonprofits, that are not engaged in usury. Their business would end if they didn't engage in usury, because that's the basis. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. So yeah, hey, if you give money out at usury, brother's not going to live. Let's see. Where is it? Oh my God. Okay, here we go. This is Ezekiel 18:13. Hath given forth upon usury, and hath taken increase. Shall he then live? He shall not live. He hath done all these abominations. He shall surely die. His blood shall be upon him. Amen. So we'll just end it at that. Thanks for joining us. It was a long show tonight. I feel worn out, and I'm gonna go back to enjoying my life and not doing something that I feel is my duty and my responsibility, which is the only reason I do any of this stuff at this point. So thanks everybody. Thanks Cliff. Hopefully David will join us next week. We'll talk to you soon. Peace and God bless. Thanks Cliff.